So I think by now we're all pretty aware as to what a game key card is, mostly because every day on social media, people are going back and forth about this thing. And the more third party games that get announced that are on game key cards and they're like 4 or 5 gigabytes, the worse it seems to get online. There's a lot of frustration around this sort of this compromise, it seems like, with Nintendo and third parties and storage size costs for these cartridges. Well, now Nintendo seems to be curious what you think about game key cards, along with some other stuff thrown in there, specifically when it comes to physical and digital purchases for the Switch 2. And, we're going to take a look at that here today. And also some of this and how it relates to maybe some of the early growing pains around the Nintendo Switch 2 and how software is exactly selling on the platform. So guys, enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Now, this survey is currently live and you can go through it and tell them exactly how you feel about game key cards and where you stand on digital and physical. Maybe you're all digital and you want to tell them, hey, love buying my games digitally. Maybe you want to say, hey, I want the download speeds to be faster or something like that, or you want more sales. You can do all of that. You can tell them exactly how you feel one way or the other. If you're a big physical collector as well, you could say, hey, I want everything on the cartridge. It's all there. So let's take a look. These are some of the questions that Nintendo was posing in this survey. And I went through it to double check some stuff because it will change somewhat dynamically based on some of the answers you pick. Because, for example, this one does have you select up to 3 from the following list. This asks, for which of the following reasons would you consider purchasing physical versions of Nintendo Switch games? And there are some of the standard answers for, like, I like collectible items, the artwork and steelbooks, manuals. Yeah, remember those? Seems like a lot of these publishers forgot about that idea. It'd be cool to see them come back, but I don't necessarily think that's what Nintendo's getting at here. But just seeing if you like all the stuff that would come with the game cartridge really in the casing, like being able to gift it to people, finding used games here though at lower prices if they're physical. And then also you like buying certain franchises. You just like collecting physical games. Physical games provide a stronger sense of ownership. Imagine that one. And then also you can sell physical games when you're finished playing them. Right? So they want you to go through, pick out what exactly you feel the strongest about here, and then they'll kind of quiz you a bit more depending on your answers. We also have a section that they put up where it asks you about all the different forms that they're selling games in. So physical with a digital download code in the box that I don't know anybody who likes that like at all. It just asks the physical package contains a download code, which is redeemed through the eShop. Like, would you buy it, basically? I kind of feel like most people are just would not buy it. I think the only reason they even exist at this point, yes, at retail, it's there for gift giving, sure. But if you're going to a GameStop and you're trading stuff in and you just have the store credit, well, that's just kind of the way it is. I'll buy it there, the code in the box, and just redeem it. That's the only reason I can think of them even existing at this point on retail store shelves. Otherwise, it feels like a waste because you get the casing, but there's no cartridge. Just a little code in a box. Like, who wants that? Maybe someone out there does. Anyway, physical cartridge. The game is included on a physical cartridge, which must be inserted into the console, of course, to play the game. This just outright the traditional way, the way that most people have been used to buying games on the Switch 1. There's some examples of games that you need to download parts of it before it works. That has been a thing. The blue banner, the dreaded blue banner. But for the most part, if you get everything on the cartridge, we buy it. I think for me, yeah, definitely would buy. And then physical requiring digital download. This is the game key card. They're not saying game key card here. They're just kind of describing it. And I think that is important because Nintendo did put out a survey, I believe it was in Japan, asking people if they know what a game key card is, like just outright. Like, hey, in this case, they're just going to go right past that and describe it to people. Physical requiring digital download. That being the physical cartridge allows the download of a full digital game to the console. The cartridge must be inserted into the console to play the game. The cartridge can then be shared and resold. So they're also putting in there that you can hand it to someone if you want, if they want to borrow it, or you can resell it, just making sure you understand that that is a thing. But naturally, you do need to at least do a one-time download of the game to get the game files, really, and then the cartridge will authenticate it. Again, people have gone back and forth online about this. I do feel like there has to be a better way to figure this out on Nintendo's end. And look, it all comes down to cost. If these cartridges weren't prohibitively expensive, we'll say, for third parties, I think they would use them, the 64 gigabyte cartridges. Just Nintendo provided them a much cheaper option, it seems, with the game key cards, and they're going to go where the money is. That's obvious. Again, these companies aren't in business for fun. They're in business to make money. So if one of these options, we'll just say, costs you $16, something like that, for the cartridge, a 64 gigabyte cartridge. The other one is a fraction of that. You're going to go with the fraction. That's just how it works, right? Well, with that in mind, we did have reports naturally around Nintendo's their last financial quarter, and that it does include 1 month of the Switch 2 on the market. So the Switch 2 sold 5.82 million Switch 2 units in June. And we had some more information around that. I do want to go over that a bit more in a video here soon. But anyway, the software game sales, they say, were slightly weak. Now, Takashi Mochizuki, people definitely like going back and forth with him based on his reports online. However, there is something to that. Now, he does say that that's probably due to key cards not welcomed by users, and also higher than usual portion of light users taking launch user base. So what we're looking at here, okay. 5.82 million Switch 2 systems selling, 8.67 million units of software. It's important to note that Nintendo is projecting 45 million pieces of software for this fiscal year, which will end of March, beginning of April, end of March 2026, okay? So they have this holiday coming up, and then they really just have the first calendar quarter of 2026 to get to that point. Now, you look at 8.67, you go, that's very good. That's good enough. Like, they're off to a good start in the first month. Yes. The thing with that, though, is of the 8.67, because they do count the bundles in that, 5.63 million units of that was Mario Kart World. All right. And look, the vast majority of those, we know, were bundles. I mean, a lot of people were thinking, oh, it's $50 in the bundle, I'll get it there. Myself included. That makes sense. I'll just go with that. It's the big launch title. Great. So the question then becomes, hold on a minute. If 5.63 million units of software was Mario Kart World, you do some quick math with this. It's like, okay, 3 million pieces of software for all of June. And then you start thinking about the third-party games. You start kind of dividing them up a bit. Or we know Cyberpunk was the best-selling third-party game. Like, it did a large majority of the sales for third party. Like, wow. So you hear that story about how I think the Game Business reported it, how there was a third party that said it came in like below expectations for their third party game. Kind of starts adding up there in your mind. You're like, wait, yeah, that would be kind of disappointing if you're a third party at launch with your game. But I will admit, you look around at the game selection, they are older ports of games that have been available for a while, and they're on game key cards. So the game key card thing, I think we need more information. I don't think we have enough yet to see, not necessarily if people who are really plugged in, like we all are, if you're watching this video, yes, you're plugged in, for gaming in general, but obviously with the Switch 2. We need to see how the mainstream reacts to game key cards. All right. And that's the biggest thing, which I do feel like we need to at least get through the holiday season to see where they stand. All right. That's kind of the problem. We're still not necessarily guessing, but there's still a lot of speculation on how game key cards are affecting sales of Switch 2 games, because we need hard numbers like these. We need full-on reports. Now, if Nintendo starts to realize that something's going on here, yeah, they're going to ask the audience. They're going to put out surveys. They're going to say, okay, let's do some research here and see what's going on. How do people feel about physical games? How do they feel about digital? How do they feel about the game key cards, without actually saying they're game key cards, but describing them? This all plays into, do we need to figure something out here? And so in my mind, yes, it's just a survey, so it may not change anything at all, but it is market research on Nintendo's part as they're trying to sort of understand the consumer perspective, and that's why they put these out there. So I will link the survey down below in the description, and I recommend you fill it out. Hey, you could love game key cards, and you can go through there and tell them that yourself. Hey, love the game key card. Sitting there and waiting for the download to happen after I dropped the cartridge in that I bought. It's great. The biggest surprise was thinking that it was all there on the cartridge in the first place. Then I get to spend some time waiting. That's great. But you could tell that, hey, look, you know what? It's that nice compromise. I'm glad this game is here, because without the game key card, maybe it wouldn't have been. I'm trying hard to rationalize the game key card right now, but for me, it's very unappealing, and I haven't been interested in buying anything on a game key card other than Street Fighter 6, which I bought because we cut it open and took a look at it, and that was mostly for a video. Otherwise, yeah, not really. And that's the sad thing, is I do feel more inclined to just buy it digitally, which I also don't think that's the direction Nintendo was thinking they would push people into. Like, oh yeah, we're going to give them an option here for physical, but they have to download. And now that person just wants to buy digital because they're already taking up space on their system. Maybe they're not thinking about selling their games, really. They're buying it for collector's sake. And it's just kind of an inconvenience to change out the cartridge at that point. You're still taking up storage on your system. So again, surveys down below in the description. Check it out. Let them know how you feel about physical, digital, game key cards, everything on the Switch too. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.